The silver-level nozzle continuously operates, from blood vessels to tissues, from membranes to muscles. The prototype of a heart slowly takes shape. With the infusion of energy, it surprisingly starts to beat. All of this is thanks to the research of Nguyen, the greatest biologist of this century. He is also an excellent astronaut, having come to space specifically to research organ printing technology. Due to the effects of gravity, organs printed on Earth tend to compress and deform, so this technology is destined to be completed only on a space station. Ron eagerly shares this news with his beloved Long. He is filled with joy, envisioning a grand future where this mature technology is used to replace patients' organs, benefiting humanity. He is equally overjoyed by his beloved's success. He will always love Nguyen at home, support Nguyen, and wait for Nguyen, along with their dog. Fortunately, the 3-year period is just 10 days from ending, and the family is about to reunite. Both are imagining the wonderful life that awaits them. But this wish, which should have been easily realized, turned into a mere illusion as the spaceship experienced an oxygen leak in the atmosphere. 2 months later, Nong wakes up in the empty house and time has not healed his inner pain. Instead, it has intensified. The memory device begins to operate, with memories flashing back continuously. From when the two met, to getting to know each other, to falling in love, to getting married and building a life together. Scene after scene, image after image, replay continuously before Nong's eyes. A beautiful dream once shattered turns into a sharp blade, stabbing and cutting the heart of a nostalgic person over and over. When sadness can no longer be dispelled, it transforms into a force of madness. The memory plays back to the passing of the family dog, yet now the dog is clearly by their side, all thanks to modern cloning technology. The successful application of this technology is also due to Kroon and his friends' research, where they laid out their entire mad plan in Noedvi's office. He wanted to ask for Novan to be cloned back. He knew it was illegal and understood the ethical and moral dilemmas behind it. But he had a reason that could not be refused. Nguyen's research on organ replacement could undoubtedly benefit all of humanity, and the significance of cloning it has surpassed everything else. I also recalled the days when he and Nguyen worked side by side to overcome challenges. My success today is inseparable from Novan's help, and if it were truly possible to bring Nguyen back, he was willing to become a sinner. But the premise was that I also needed to extract memories from Nguyen's brain and transfer them to the clone, to truly resurrect Novan in a meaningful way. Upon receiving a positive response, Nong immediately went to his father-in-law's house, as the access to Nguyen's remains was in his father-in-law's hands. Long could only hope that Nguyen's family would agree to his crazy idea. The whole family was shocked by this absurd notion. But the conservative father-in-law and mother-in-law didn't want to consider any lofty ideals. Their daughter had already passed away, and they only wanted Nguyen to rest in peace. Ideas that couldn't be understood would ultimately lead to arguments. Without further discussion, Long drove straight to the hospital. However, even though it wasn't closing time, the morgue had stopped accepting any arrangements. Long's drastic actions only resulted in being escorted out by security. It was indeed orchestrated by the pregnant woman, as she planned to cremate her daughter's body the next day. But the father-in-law underestimated Nong's madness, as she had nothing left to lose. In the calm hospital, Long raised his hand to trigger the fire alarm. Accompanied by the piercing alarm causing panic, the crowd immediately began to evacuate. However, Long, carrying a handbag, moved against the flow of people. In the morgue, Long finally saw his beloved once again, whom he had been longing for. He had clearly promised that he would return safely, but now Long's fingertips could only feel a chilling cold. It didn't matter. Long would help him fulfill this promise. When the father-in-law opened the cold storage the next day, accompanied by a doctor, he only found a headless corpse. Wei could only think that Long's actions were too shocking, but only Long himself knew how painful it was to commit such an act. Now neither of them had any way out. There was no time to lose. They had to extract Nguyen's memory as soon as possible. Due to the fragility of the brain's nerves, the memory extraction process would cause irreversible damage. If it failed, Nguyen would never be able to return. Under intense pressure, they began to extract the memories from Nguyen's brain. In an instant, countless images appeared in the air through 3D projection. These were all the significant moments in Nguyen's life up to that point. Due to the complexity of the human brain, Wei had to help artificial intelligence in identifying contradictions within memories. Nguyen was both a doctor and an astronaut, and he needed to help the AI confirm that both sets of memories were accurate. This time it would take several days, but rest assured, I am also a professional farmer. Feeling restless and unable to stay at home, reflecting on the past experiences of the two, they had once agreed to have a baby 3 years later. but a single phone call from Wei shattered this wish forever. Outside the laboratory, the emotionally shattered Nong could only roar helplessly. Back at home, before he could calm down, the intruding police had already brought him to justice. The chaos caused by the drug-related corpse, combined with multiple offenses, led to Nong facing a 3-year prison sentence. Another 3 years passed, and Long walked out of the prison gates alone. A man's figure appeared before him, claiming to be Nong. Memories returned to that night 3 years ago, delving into the depths of Nguyen's memory, uncovering his deepest secret. It turned out that Nguyen had always felt he was born the wrong gender, Xiu. As he faced the development of secondary sexual characteristics, he only wanted to hide himself, so he kept his hair short, worked out to build muscle, and used filters to imagine himself as a man. With disbelief written all over his face, Xiang Wei confirmed whether these memories were true. Wei showed him the densely packed red areas in Nguyen's brain scan, which represented Nguyen's core beliefs and his true self. Ron's past emerged before the two of them, as he revealed his thoughts to his mother. The other party responded only with silence. The younger sister would humbly beg her older sister to wear a dress, while the father roughly threw a pink princess dress at his daughter's head. Nguyen said herself that she didn't want to be a girl, but her father cried and begged her to give him back his daughter. Since then, Lun changed. She tried wearing makeup, grew her hair long, and devoted herself to medical research, making it her life's goal. One day, she suddenly wanted to get married, not to live up to her father's expectations, but to leave this home. The interface of artificial intelligence was stuck between two options. One was a male body, the other a female body. But Luo's heart was left only with collapse. It turned out that all the emotions and sincerity he had given in the past were returned with nothing but lies. Clearly, he had been longing for a reunion, even at the cost of defying morality and the law. But it was all for the sake of someone who had deceived him for years. To offer comfort, this experiment could still be stopped now. But do you want me to stop? Long could only respond with a roar instead of an answer. Back at home, Long recalled what Wei had said to him. The deception was a fact, but Nguyen's love was genuine. He had personally told him that he liked Long because Long never had any expectations of him. Allowing him to be himself freely around Long. Sometimes simply feeling at ease is enough of a reason to deeply love someone. She chose to marry Nong not out of compromise, but because she chose true happiness. Before Nong could calm down, the piercing sound of sirens suddenly blared outside the window. The police were aware of the urgent situation outside the door, and she could only call Wei, asking him not to clone her anymore. That Long, in his own hopes, wanted Long Yawei to clone Nguyen into the person he truly wanted to become. Love can make people choose to desperately grasp at everything that seems out of reach. Similarly, love can also make people choose to let go. For Wei, it only required replacing an X chromosome with a Y chromosome. For Nong and Nguyen, it meant the upheaval of their subsequent lives. But in the end, Long only wanted to leave Nguyen with one sentence: be yourself, I love you. When the police pinned me down, the only thing in my mind was the scene from 3 years ago when I parted with Nguyen. I can only accompany you this far, Chao Go, and I hope your future journey, is full of surprises. Achieve the goals you wish to realize. 6 years ago, the two embraced and said goodbye under the sunset. 6 years later, they embraced and reunited under the scorching sun. Being able to be 100% sure that the man in his arms, Haiwo, is his former lover. Those moles in the genetic sequence already explain everything. Although the gender has changed, the love has not altered in the slightest. Please allow me to call myself by your name. There are simply too many questions, just wanting to say everything accumulated over 3 years in an instant. But Ron tells him not to rush. Now he has restarted the research on organ printing, and the International Space Agency has also provided additional funding. He is invited to join the research team. Faced with the background check by the Space Agency, Norn reveals everything in full detail. After all, it can't be hidden. The Space Agency acknowledged that his human rights-related procedures as a clone have been completed. But the only condition is that Reuven must join the first permanent lunar colonization program. He is set to depart in 3 months. Long did not stop him at all. Instead, he asked if he would be afraid to return to the spaceship again. What Long Bu knows is how intense Ron's emotional reaction was when he first saw his male body after waking up. He would not forget the words Nong left behind. Although fear can prevent humans from exploring new discoveries, love can overcome all difficulties. 5 years later, Ron's research on the moon achieved great success, resulting in one medical miracle after another. The host interviewed Reuven, asking if he would miss Earth. Reuven quoted what Nong once said to him, "With love, anywhere can be home." Reuven on the moon realized his dream. Long and Wei on Earth also embarked on their new lives. End of this episode.